All right, rolling.
Rolling? Is that rolling?
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, my name is James Hughes.
I'm Mark Rial.
And this is session 4 of the YMC.
Session 4 of the YMC. What's it about?
It covers the fundamentals of HTML. Basically, it communicates to the browser what your content is and how to display it.
It's the first time where they can take the stuff that they've been working on offline and then make it actually appear in their web browser, which is always kind of like light goes on for a lot of people seeing their own stuff, and they just built their first web page. They just built their first little website.
I'm going to get out if you wouldn't mind taking your seats.
Okay, so my name is November Michael Noose. My mustache is slipping off, so I'm going to take it off and reveal the real thing. This is week 4 of the YMC, and we're finally getting into HTML coding. You need to walk before you run. I think we're beginning to CSS later on, and also PHP, and HTML is still a backbone of the internet. So you need to create the foundation before you start building the actual building itself. So you need to have basically somewhere for the website to stand on. HTML is what it is, so you need to basically have that structure first.
Okay, so we're going to dive into session number 4 today. If we take our content and we have our design, in a lot of ways these are two separate things, and I actually want to make sure that we're all kind of conscious and aware of that difference between these two, because moving forward we're going to be using different programming techniques and technologies to accomplish both of them. When it comes to actually doing the programming and building the site, this one, what we're going to be taking a look at today, being the HTML, and then design is what we're going to be taking a closer look at next week, and that's going to be related to CSS. So we're going to lead into HTML.
Awesome.
I'm going to hand it over to James, and he's going to guide you through a trip to HTML land.
Cool. So I'm going to walk you through HTML. It's an acronym. It means hypertext markup. This is not a programming language. It's tags that you use to mark up in plain text documents, and they look like this. Got that. As you can see, there's a tag. There's one tag. It's opening tag, and then we put the content in, and then there's closing tag. What the browser reads is these two and displays whatever's in between this, which is the content. So basically, the tag is made up of an opening bracket, an identifier, and a closing bracket. Any browser reads any plain text document. For Windows, it's Notepad, and for Mac, it's TextEdit. So basically, to start any HTML document, you got to use 3 main tags. So there's an HTML tag, then there's a header tag, and then we always close your tag. When you have an opening, you always have to close it. Then you have the body tag. Right now, they don't mean really anything. So we got to kind of create a hierarchy. So the HTML tag, what it does, tells the browser this is where the HTML or the web page is starting. So everything that's in the HTML tag tells the browser that, hey, display this. This is what you need to recognize. Now the header tag is basically where all your information is going to go that tells your browser about this page. And your body is what displays all your content.
So my name is Ryan Coelho. I lead a community of small business owners. I'm a community connector, so I'm helping connect their businesses with the right resources, as well as other potential leads, synergies, etc.
What would you say is the most important points to take home with you about HTML?
It has to be sort of the format and the things that are required, so like the head, the body. I always knew the HTML tags had to be there, but I never knew what needed to go into where. So when I'm reading stuff on, say, a WordPress blog, and that's why I really want to learn this, is when I look through the coding on a WordPress blog, I'm not sure why things are where they are, or if I want to change it where they have to be. So really the structure is what's helping me the most, or the most valuable. I felt this was the basic stuff I needed to know, and I was sort of familiar with it. I want to take it to the next level and try to get as much info on HTML. So when the CSS time comes, it's pretty easy to use.
Getting back into HTML, we're going to get into some of the more advanced aspects of HTML. When we need to give instructions to the browser and say, you know, hello browser, looking great today. I need you to give me a heading. That's our instruction. This is our way of saying, hey browser, great job. Thanks for doing that for me, but I'm all done my heading, and then your heading's done. Same thing with the paragraph, list item tags, same deal. So that's when we need to format and render a specific type of text. These guys here, not so much formatting something, but we're rendering something. We want a line break. We want a horizontal rule. We specifically want something in particular. One of the interesting things here, though, is you see how we have this blank document showing up? If we go into the view and we go into the page, we see we got three options, right? And this is something that's pretty common amongst these full-featured web browsers. Because, and a question that actually came up during the break, you know, isn't there an easier way? Do we have to, you know, just look at all these codes all the time? Short answer is no, we don't. Long answer being no, we don't. But if you don't kind of get some sort of fundamental understanding of HTML and something goes wrong with these visual editors, it's a real pain in the ass to go back and try to fix it if you don't know anything about it. So we got three options. We got design, split, and code, right? So the design option is what we're looking at right now. We can see that there's no HTML code or anything on there at all. But if we slip down to the code option, we can see by default, and this is just a brand new document. We just opened a new document, nothing there. There's already a whole bunch of code already going on in the background. Now, hopefully you guys can recognize those basic codes, those basic tags that James mentioned at the very beginning, which are necessary for all HTML documents. So the terminology that we need to get into play here, so there's our A tag. And what we need to add to this is we need to add more information. And just to make sure that we've got all of our slang right, what do we refer to these things as? So this is our tag, right? So our tag name is still the same thing, right? Our tag is what shows up at the beginning after that first, you know, caret symbol. Then what we have after that is this is known as an attribute, and this is known as a value. You know, if we took people for an instance, right? Like let's say this was the people tag, right? So we would have something like, you know, people, or maybe person, and then eye color equals brown. Right? So it's the same kind of concept. You've got your general tag, but you're just including some more information that's necessary to more refine what is it specifically about this tag? What's this tag supposed to do? Tell me more about it. Right? So browsers understand tags. Tags can have attributes and values assigned to those attributes with them. Right? A couple things to note about that. There's no limit to the numbers of attributes and values something can have. So some advanced kind of technologies, they can use a lot of meta information. And moving forward, a lot of technologies are relying on this very structure to do a lot of different things, right? So if you think of a shopping cart, for instance, maybe a shopping cart would have, you know, item, and then it would be price equals this, size equals this, right? So there's a lot of attributes and values that anything can have. And which is why HTML and those kind of related languages are very, very flexible, very, very frequently used.
What were some of the highlights of the second half of the session?
Well, Mark highlighted Expression Web, which was cool. I've never used it. And so just learning about all the different tags and markups and kind of how everything comes together when it's a little more complex. And I think that the template, it's the first time I've seen either of them. So the template seems just, there's a lot more options. It's kind of more user-friendly, Expression Web is.
Well, first we started off with the basics. We started with Notepad, which is Windows, plain text editor, and TextEdit, which is for Mac.
The second half, when we got into some of the more in-depth HTML stuff, we took a look at some of the more kind of robust, full-featured text editors. So we got into Expression Web, which is available through the Microsoft platform installer, as well as we took a quick peek at Dreamweaver, which is Adobe's text editor solution, and also even some open source ones like NetBeans, Notepad++, JEdit. We didn't take a look into them today, but I could see in future sessions we might kind of pop them open and check under the hood.
Next week is starting CSS, which is the styling component of web pages. And then we're going to get Aaron Ritchie in talking about image optimization for web.